How often do you say yes when you really mean no? How often do you find yourself stretched too thin, taking on more than you can handle? Welcome, everyone, to this enlightening discussion about the art of mastering self-care, with a particular focus on setting boundaries for optimal mental wellness. In our fast-paced world, it's all too easy to get swept up in the whirlwind of life's demands, often at the expense of our own mental and emotional health. But it's time to change that narrative. Self-care is more than just pampering ourselves. It's about setting boundaries that allow us to maintain our well-being. It's about saying no when we need to, about respecting our limits, and about giving ourselves the permission to prioritize our own health. Today we'll explore how setting boundaries can improve our mental wellness. So sit back, relax, and let's embark on this journey together. So, what exactly are boundaries? Let's take a moment to unravel this concept. Boundaries, in simplest terms, are the guidelines we set for ourselves to protect our well-being. They act as personal demarcation lines that define where we end and where others begin. They are about honoring our needs and making space for our emotional, mental, and physical health. Now, let's delve deeper into their importance. Boundaries are not just the cornerstone of self-care, but also the foundation of healthy and sustainable relationships. They help us express our needs clearly and assertively, thus preventing misunderstandings and resentment. Boundaries also allow us to preserve our energy and time for what truly matters to us, thereby aiding in stress management and overall mental wellness. But how do they affect our mental wellness, you ask? Well, consider this. When we fail to set boundaries, we often find ourselves overextended, overwhelmed, and underappreciated. We may become entangled in toxic relationships, suffer from burnout, or lose sight of our own needs and desires. On the other hand, when we set and respect our boundaries, we empower ourselves to maintain balance and peace in our lives. We cultivate self-respect and invite others to respect us as well. Remember, boundaries are not about isolating ourselves or pushing others away. They aren't walls, but guidelines that help us navigate our interactions and relationships with respect and consideration for our own well-being. They are about knowing and communicating what we are and aren't comfortable with, what we will and won't accept, and what we need to feel respected and valued. So as we continue this journey of self-care mastery, keep in mind that setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but one of self-respect and self-preservation. It's about giving ourselves permission to prioritize our needs and to take care of our mental and emotional health. Remember, boundaries are not walls. They are guidelines to protect our well-being. They are essential tools that enable us to live authentically, passionately, and joyously as we all deserve to. Boundaries can be set in various areas of our lives. Now let's give life to this statement by diving into some real-life examples of setting boundaries across different facets of our existence. First off, we have personal boundaries. These are the limits we set for ourselves to protect our mental and emotional well-being. For instance, maintaining a work-life balance is a personal boundary. It might mean deciding not to check work emails after a certain hour, or dedicating the weekends purely for relaxation and leisure activities. Next, emotional boundaries come into play in our relationships. They involve communicating our feelings and needs clearly and assertively. For example, telling a loved one that their criticism is hurting you is setting an emotional boundary. It's about expressing your feelings and asking for the respect and understanding you deserve. Then, we have physical boundaries. These are about respecting our personal space and limits. It could be as simple as asking friends not to touch your hair without permission, or as significant as defining the level of physical intimacy you're comfortable with in a relationship. Lastly, time boundaries are all about prioritizing our time and commitments. This may involve saying no to a social event because you've already committed to a self-care day or scheduling uninterrupted time to focus on a project without distractions. These examples illustrate how setting boundaries can help maintain a healthy balance in our lives. It's about knowing our limits and sticking to them, thereby preventing burnout and preserving our mental wellness. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about creating a safe space for yourself to thrive. So, as we continue our journey towards mastering self-care, let's remind ourselves of the importance of setting and respecting boundaries. It may seem challenging at first, but with practice we can become more adept at setting boundaries that help us nurture our mental wellness. These examples show how setting boundaries can help maintain a healthy balance in our lives. With this in mind, let's delve deeper into the contrast between healthy and unhealthy boundaries in our next segment. Join us as we continue to unravel the art of self-care mastery. Not all boundaries are created equal. This simple truth underlines the stark contrast between healthy and unhealthy boundaries, and the profound impact these can have on our mental well-being. Imagine a thriving garden. Healthy boundaries are like the fence that protects this garden, allowing the right things in, like sunlight and rain, while keeping out the destructive elements. They are clear, respectful, and established based on self-awareness and respect for your own needs and values. They are about saying yes to what nurtures us and no to what depletes us. On the other hand, unhealthy boundaries are like a broken fence. They might be too rigid, isolating us from others and hindering our ability to form meaningful connections. Or they might be too loose, leaving us exposed to hurtful or toxic behaviors. These boundaries are often rooted in fear, guilt, or a desire to please others at the expense of our own well-being. The effects of these two types of boundaries couldn't be more distinct. Healthy boundaries lead to respect, clear communication, and high self-esteem. They allow us to protect our mental health, preventing burnout and reducing stress. They empower us to take control of our lives and cultivate positive relationships. Unhealthy boundaries, however, can lead to resentment, stress, and feelings of being taken advantage of. They can make us feel as if we're constantly on the back foot, struggling to keep up with demands or expectations that don't align with our needs or values. The consequences of unhealthy boundaries aren't just emotional. They can impact our physical health as well, leading to exhaustion, sleep problems, and even physical illness. They can also stifle our personal growth, trapping us in cycles of negativity and self-neglect. The goal then is to set healthy boundaries that empower us and improve our mental wellness. It's about learning to value ourselves enough to protect our well-being, to cultivate positive and respectful relationships, and to live life on our own terms. It's about building that strong, sturdy fence around our garden, ensuring it continues to flourish. And remember, like any skill, setting healthy boundaries takes practice. But with each step, you're not just setting a boundary, you're making a statement about your self-worth and taking control of your mental wellness. Setting boundaries isn't always a walk in the park. It's a journey filled with obstacles that can sometimes feel like climbing a mountain without a map. Let's unpack some of the common challenges people often face when trying to set boundaries. First, there's the fear of conflict. Many of us are conflict avoidant, preferring to keep the peace rather than stir the pot. This fear can be paralyzing, making us sacrifice our needs to avoid potential confrontation. Then, there's guilt, a tricky emotion that can sneak up on us when we least expect it. When we start to set boundaries, we may feel guilty about putting ourselves first, especially if we're used to prioritizing others' needs over our own. Let's not forget about cultural influences. In many cultures, the idea of setting boundaries can be viewed as selfish or even disrespectful. This can make it particularly challenging for individuals from these backgrounds to assert their needs without feeling like they're violating their cultural norms. Finally, there's the challenge of simply not knowing how to set boundaries. This can stem from a lack of role models in our lives who demonstrated healthy boundary setting, leaving us unsure of how to navigate this crucial aspect of self-care. These challenges can seem daunting, but they're not insurmountable. With patience, practice, and a little bit of courage, we can learn to overcome these hurdles and set boundaries that serve our needs. These obstacles can be overcome, and we'll discuss some strategies next. Scene script. Let's arm ourselves with tools to successfully set boundaries. Firstly, consider assertiveness training. This involves learning to express your feelings and needs in a respectful and confident manner. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being clear and standing firm. You might say, "I appreciate your request, but I won't be able to assist with that project at this time." The key is to communicate your limits without feeling guilty or apologetic. Next, let's talk about mindfulness practices. Being mindful means being fully present in the moment, not ruminating over the past or worrying about the future. It helps us become more self-aware, allowing us to recognize our needs and when our boundaries are being infringed upon. Take a few moments each day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and check in with yourself. Ask, "How am I feeling? What do I need right now?" Another strategy is to visualize your boundaries. Imagine a protective bubble around you, shielding you from stress and negativity. This can be especially helpful in situations where you're feeling pressured or overwhelmed. Seeking support is also crucial. This might mean confiding in a trusted friend or family member about your struggles with setting boundaries. Alternatively, you might consider seeking the guidance of a professional, such as a therapist or a life coach. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to navigate this journey alone. And finally, remember to practice self-compassion. Setting boundaries can be challenging, and it's normal to feel uncomfortable or guilty at first. But it's important to be gentle with yourself during this process. Remind yourself that you're doing this to protect your mental health and well-being. It's not selfish, it's self-care. Of course, these strategies are not one-size-fits-all. It's about finding what works best for you in your unique circumstances. It may take some trial and error, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep trying, keep learning, and keep growing. Remember, setting boundaries is an act of self-love and self-respect. It's about honoring your needs and values and creating space for your own growth and happiness. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. With these strategies, you can confidently set boundaries and prioritize your mental wellness. Setting boundaries is a journey, not a destination. As we've explored today, mastering the art of self-care through setting boundaries is an ongoing process, and one that is crucial for our mental and emotional well-being. It's not just about saying no, it's about knowing when to say yes and when to prioritize our own needs, without guilt or resentment. Remember, boundaries are the guidelines we set for ourselves in various aspects of our lives to protect our well-being and maintain healthy relationships. They might involve work-life balance, communication in relationships, personal space, or time management. The key is to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy boundaries, and to strive for the former in order to avoid feelings of overextension, resentment, and exhaustion. Of course, we understand that setting boundaries isn't always easy. Fear of conflict, guilt, and cultural influences can make it challenging. But, as we've discussed, there are practical strategies to help you overcome these hurdles. Assertiveness training, mindfulness practices, and seeking support from friends or professionals can all play a role in this journey. Now, we'd love to hear about your experiences. Have you struggled with setting boundaries? Perhaps you found particular strategies helpful in asserting your needs, or maybe you're still finding your way. Whatever your story, we invite you to share it in the comments below. Your insights could be invaluable to someone else on a similar journey. And if you haven't done so already, remember to subscribe for more content on self-care and mental wellness. We're all in this together, learning and growing, setting boundaries and practicing self-care. So join the conversation below, and remember to subscribe for more content on self-care and mental wellness. Together, we can master the art of self-care and nurture our mental wellness one boundary at a time. Before we wrap up, here's a sneak peek at our next topic. We're taking a leap from mastering self-care to embracing minimalism. Sounds interesting, right? Our next video is all about the 30-day minimalism challenge, Declutter Your Life. This challenge is not just about clearing your physical space, but also about decluttering your mind and simplifying your life. It's about making room for what truly matters by eliminating the unnecessary. From your closet to your calendar, we'll guide you through a transformative journey of self-discovery. We'll provide practical tips and strategies to help you declutter, organize, and streamline your life one day at a time. By the end of the 30 days, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and more focused. So are you ready to embrace the power of less to achieve more? Stay tuned for our next video, and until then, keep setting those boundaries.